Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we are going to be doing another true crime tarot video, and it's going to be about Nichole Kessinger. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into her this time than I did last time. Ew, that sounded weird. Not me being a 12-year-old boy. Anyways, we're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive about her than I did last time. And yeah, we are basically going to be taking a look at, like, was she there when it happened? How involved, if she was at all, when it came to the children. In my last video, if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. I will link it in the description below, but basically I came to the conclusion that she was kind of like putting it in his head. I said I didn't want to call her like the mastermind or anything, but it was basically like, I feel like manipulation and just, you know, her saying all the right things to his ears that basically made him feel like that was the right thing to do, which was take his wife and his children's lives, right? So obviously that's not the right thing to do, but I believe what she was telling him or feeding him, that's what it made him feel like that. So I do believe that was kind of in the plans. However, the way it happened, I don't believe that was the way it was supposed to happen. And that's why things got a little weird. Today, we're going to be taking a look at, was she there when it happened? Was she involved at all with the children? So anyways, let's just go ahead and get into the video. Be sure to also give me a like and subscribe if you enjoy true crime and tarot. And if you like the way that I present this content to you, you're not liking it because you like horrible things, but you like the way I talk about them. So let's just go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I'm going to be taking a look at really is just overall, like, I want to know more about her part in the planning and the process of, like, what was going to happen. So, okay, first we have the Five of Cups in reverse. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 cards and we're going to go from there. Next we have the Four of Swords in reverse. Okay, I'm already starting to get the message. And then we have the Eight of Swords in the upright. Okay, so what this is telling me, so let's start off with the Five of Cups. I feel like this is how it kind of started, which makes sense. So Five of Cups is talking about failures and regrets and just basically all the things that haven't worked out. I feel like that was like the bonding moment for Chris and Nichole. Him probably talking about the things that he wasn't really happy with, wasn't thrilled with in his marriage and his life. And I feel like she took that as an opportunity to say, oh, well, I can turn that around for you. I can change that for you. Because when you look at the Five of Cups in reverse, like, let's talk about the upright. He's only focused on the cups that have fallen, and he doesn't realize there's these full cups behind him, right? But when it's in the reverse, that's like turning around and being able to recognize, like, there's still so much potential for me to, like, not focus on the failures. There's still so much potential for progress and success. So I believe she noted what wasn't making him happy, and she was like, ooh, I can take advantage of the situation. Not to say that this isn't his fault. I'm just saying this is kind of how it played out in their minds, right? Not saying he's not responsible for his own actions. Don't get it twisted. So, also, this is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. I didn't say that earlier. But anyways, so I feel like she saw that and she was like, ooh, like, thinking like, I can change that for him. I can turn that around for him. You don't have to focus on all the things that didn't work out because I'm going to work out. I think that's what her brain was saying. So moving into the Four of Swords being in the reverse, that's like overthinking, almost in a way that's like anxiety inducing. I feel like there was obsessive thoughts about this. So, excuse me. So I feel like I literally am feeling like they bonded over that. She went home. She was obsessively thinking about that. And then the Eight of Swords being next. Like, she was literally so consumed in these thoughts that it was like she was bound by her perspective, by her thoughts, by her drive to make him hers. There was something so, like, I don't know. It was something like almost like egotistical is what I'm feeling. Something that she was like, ooh, I want to take this married man. So gross. And I think that really was boosting her ego to feel like, oh, like he would leave his whole family for me. He would end his whole family for me. Like, I am that important. I'm not worthy. Like, that's really what this is feeling. And I think she was obsessing over that because he had probably already said some things in the mix of, him telling her how he wasn't happy, etc., that kind of gave her that insight, like, oh, I think he's interested. I think he's looking for something else, like something that kind of gave her the go ahead where she was like, I'm going to make this happen. And she became kind of obsessive over that. So let's do some more cards and to kind of see, I guess, how I want to know how this conversation first went. So I'm going to pull some cards for her and then him, and then how that conversation exchange happened, like their perspectives on that. Okay, so we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Next, we have Page of Swords. And then this one here. And we have Ace of Wands. Okay, so what this is telling me is I feel like she was slowly, I feel like she brought this up. I think it was in a sly way, but I think she was slowly kind of starting to bring out with the Queen of Pentacles, basically like the deconstruction of the family, right? Which, obviously if they're having an affair, but I'm meaning in a sense of suggesting you don't have to live that reality anymore, because the Queen of Pentacles, she's all about structure, organization, and peace and calm and grounding. And when this is in the reverse, it usually means that there's more more peace that's needed, more structure that's needed, or the breaking down of those things, the lack of those things, right? So I feel like she was starting to kind of, feed it into his head, feed it into his mind, you don't have to, or okay, this is kind of specific, but I feel like she even said something along the lines of I wish you didn't have to deal with them anymore, or I just wish they never existed, something where it implied it but didn't directly say it, right? That's where we're moving into the Page of Swords. It's this new idea, this new perspective, a new way to see something. And I feel like it kind of sparked that in his brain. I don't think they ever explicitly said, yeah, let's plan to end their lives. I think it was all more so talking in a way of oh, I wish this could have happened, or if I could, I would do this different, something like that. But obviously implying what was going to inevitably happen, which is him taking their lives, right? I hope I'm explaining that okay. I feel like I can't exactly figure out the best words to explain it, so I really hope I'm explaining that okay. But anyways, moving into the Ace of Wands in reverse, this shows me that there was that hesitation to act, though, and I feel like that was coming from him. I feel like he was maybe kind of all talk, it was more in his head. I don't think he thought it was actually going to happen. I feel like it was just fantasy to him at one point, which horrible, but I feel like it was just fantasy to him at one point, and that's why he was kind of more playing along and engaging in that conversation of oh, if they weren't a problem, then I would do this and this and this with you, or we could have our own family. I wish I could have started my family with you, stupid shit like that. And but I do feel like there was that internal hesitation to actually commit it. So I do feel like it was just a fantasy for him. So let's do some more cards and kind of figure out what happened next. We have the Queen of Cups. This is emotional imbalance, kind of like emotional immaturity. So that makes sense. This whole situation is completely emotionally immature. And next we have the Seven of Pentacles. So that's a long-term view. Ooh, I feel like she and him, maybe, I feel like they were both really struggling with that emotional balance. And it was maybe causing some conflict because this was taking too long in her eyes. I think she was okay, we've both said, we wish he didn't have to have that family anymore. We've both kind of hinted at these things where it's I want to be with you forever. I want to start a family with you, all these things. I think she even said she wanted to have she wanted to give him his firstborn son, which I don't know. I think it's so weird to see children as a trophy, as own my children. Like, obviously they're your children, but I don't know. They're not just like a piece of something to like show off. Like, I don't know, but that's a whole other tangent for another day. Anyways, yeah, so I feel like, you know, she was really under the idea that he was like, yep, I am fully in agreement that I actually want to take action on this, right? And so when that wasn't happening, I think she was getting really upset, and it was kind of causing some conflict because she's like waiting around. She's like, when is this going to happen? When am I going to be able to fulfill my fantasy of being with him? Like, why am I just waiting around? So yeah, let's see what else is coming up. What did that bring? 3 of Cups. So that's where this collaboration came in. More of that, like, look, like, this is how I'm feeling. Why is this taking so long? Like, you know, we're not together yet. Like, that's when the planning started. And I'm not quite sure that it was really like specific planning, but it was almost as in like, what are we going to do about this? And she was now including herself, like, what are we going to do about them? That is what I'm getting the feeling of. And the 3 of Cups, that's like coming together, like with either friends or like a person, right? So I see that as them coming together to kind of communicate and figure out what is the next plan to create that emotional connection, that emotional stability, whatever, their emotional fantasy that it is that they've been like, you know, talking about. Here we have the 4 of Cups. So even though Chris is obviously a piece of shit and fully responsible for everything he did, this is telling me that I do think he had this kind of like inner knowing of like, this isn't right, but he was ignoring that. Does that make sense? Like, when you look at the 4 of Cups, this is the universe trying to be like, dude, like, pay attention. This is your intuition talking to you. This is the universe trying to tell you and guide you in the right direction. And this is just ignoring it, blocking it out, not paying attention. So I feel like there is that like kind of deep inner like nagging of like, what are you doing? What the F are you thinking? What are you doing? But he didn't care. He didn't care enough. He cared more about like his priorities were all out of whack, right? So that's why he was completely ignoring it. But I do think that kind of inner thing was there, which also, you know, makes sense with the Ace of Wands being in reverse, that like feeling like, I don't know if I'm really going to act on it, right? So, yeah, I feel like through this conversation, he kind of felt like, well, okay, this is the direction things are going in. And that's why he's kind of ignoring that feeling of hesitation, right? So let's see what else. Next, we have the High Priestess. Oh, yeah, this is all about the subconscious mind and your intuition. Okay, so I feel like that's something that he was really blocking out, but also in a way like almost, hold on, the Chariot in reverse. Okay, I just wanted to get that out. Okay, so with the High Priestess here being about the subconscious and intuition and everything, I feel like I said before, there was kind of that inner like nagging, but he was ignoring it. However, now that we have the High Priestess, I feel like this is almost representative of those like the other subconscious. Does that make sense? Like those inner demons, those negative thoughts, the ideas that maybe she had and he had come out together with that were kind of, you know, driving him. So I felt like in a way, because he was ignoring his actual intuition, the actual like deep feeling of not being able to do it, the other subconscious thoughts, the more darker ones, the ones that kind of fulfilled this fantasy, I think those were coming through a little bit more stronger, or that's what he was kind of wanting. So he was like embracing that, if that makes sense. Again, I hope I explained that okay, in a way to where he felt like this was what he had to do. I feel like he genuinely thought that, sorry, I laughed because I hit this. He genuinely thought that like this is the right thing. He thought he was trusting his intuition, his gut, following his purpose by ending their lives, by doing what it was to try and fulfill this life with Nichole. I think he, crazy enough, thought that that's what he was supposed to do. So then we have the Chariot in reverse. This represents delays, maybe something not going as according to plan. That was actually, yeah, that's something I said in the last video. So I'm kind of getting that here now as well. And like an imbalance of things. And that imbalance can kind of be that like, you know, that like impulsive acting, right? So let's do more cards. Let's get into it, because when I feel like there's delays there, that's what I'm seeing, is in like that, like acting too quickly. Now it's like, ooh, like now we're being faced with all these other things that we didn't think about. Like, how are we gonna get ourselves out of this? What is the cover up for this? We have the Ten of Swords. Yeah, that's like a betrayal. I mean, that's and painful endings. I really feel like, it's so interesting. Any time that I really do these true crime tarot readings and we get to the point in the story where it's getting to like the murder, I get cards where it's like murder, like swords in the back, or I actually get the death card. Like the cards, they always tell it how it is. And like, this is the direction it's going into. So there was those delays, and I feel like it was just so reckless that it was almost like just the even worse, not that it could be any like less worse, but just the worst ultimate betrayal, taking her life, taking the children's lives, taking the unborn babies' lives, all of that, right? So that's the direction it's going in. So due to those, due to the waiting, due to the emotional immaturity and the manipulating oneself into feeling like this was his true calling, even though there was some like the things not going according to plan, it still happened. He took their lives. So now I really want to take a look at like, okay, so during that, let's take a look at, that events, right? Like a little bit before that, what was Nichole doing? A little bit before the murder of Shanann, what was she doing? We have the Six of Wands in reverse. So the wands have to do with our actions and how they like align with our belief system, our thoughts. And the Six of Wands is almost like, it's like something not working out, and it's kind of like more of an ego thing, right? So this could be like a failure, something not working out very well, giving it a go, it's not working. And that can kind of like make you, I don't know, get a little bit egotistical, right? Or you're focusing on like benefiting your ego more so than like doing the right thing. And then we have the Star card, which is like rest, rejuvenation, and trust. So I really feel like she was, of course, I'm not sure if she was there or not. I'm going to kind of get into that, but just to figure out what was she doing before the murder of Shanann Watts, and the headspace of her, I feel like she was so almost like delusionally believing that it was going to be okay, because this is all about the trust, right? And if her ego is leading her thoughts, her perspective, I think they did know that was going to happen. Okay, so like I said earlier, that it wasn't going to happen, or it didn't happen as according to plan, but I do think she knew that it was going to happen then, because why else would her ego be pushing her in a direction where she's almost like, oh, like I feel so relaxed, so rejuvenated, so balanced, so like I'm trusting in everything because I know this is going to happen. Why else would she feel that way before then? So I just don't think the actual like way it happened. And to the girls, that wasn't the plan though. And then we have the Seven of Swords. So yeah, this is manipulation, being like strategic. I think this card even came up in the last reading about this situation. So yeah, I think they were in, I don't know if this has been proven or not, so definitely let me know if I'm just like saying stuff that everybody already knows. But I do feel like they were in communication beforehand, and I feel like she definitely was in his head a little bit. And obviously, like I said a million times, he's fully accountable for what he's done. However, I do think just that back and forth conversation, the way they kind of manipulated each other into believing this is what was meant to be, that is kind of where this was going. So I feel like her delusions and like this is going to be great, and kind of feeding that into him, and him, already being like in that mindset of, okay, like I guess it's going to happen, but not exactly sure how, right? And then, the story of him going into the room in the morning, him trying to talk to her. They were like, well, why were you like on top of her at some point, right? He's like, I just wanted her to listen to me. Like, that doesn't excuse that, his BS stories, whatever. But, he was going in there kind of with that purpose to communicate, right? So if he's already kind of done and not wanting to deal with things, why would he go in there with that purpose other than to have a further, you know, knowing what her answers are going to be, that's just going to make him mad. It's just going to trigger him, right? So that would put him in the right headspace to do this horrible thing. So that's kind of what I'm getting. I'm getting like if that was maybe the plan in that day, because I mean, he had the time. He had the time that day to get rid of them. So I do feel like that was in the plan, but I think maybe his emotions got out of control and he just started to feel the pressure. And that's when it was like, well, I'm just going to do it. So now I want to know, like, was she there in regards to her actually being there? Like, what were her actions? King of Pentacles, the Hierophant in reverse, and then the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, give me a second. So I don't think she was there. I don't think she was there because the King of Pentacles is all like organization, structure, being on top of it, being like kind of in control. And I do feel like that's where she was at. The Hierophant in reverse is like doing things in a different way, like rebelling almost, right? And then the Six of Pentacles, that being in reverse, is like being in a mode where you're like kind of in need. Does that make sense? So like needing something, gaining, what am I trying to say? I can't freaking talk. Like being, for lack of better phrasing, because I can't freaking think right now, like being in receiving mode, right? So she's needing something, she's needing some information. The Pentacles represent the things in our physical, right? So to me, this would be the information, right? Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. So basically, due to looking at these things, that's why I'm feeling like she wasn't there, because I do think she kind of knew something was going on. But I think she was like kind of out of the loop, because while she was doing her own thing, okay, that's what I was getting with the Hierophant. You kind of do things in your own way. It's rebelling. Obviously, they were rebelling by taking these lives, right? But I do think she was on her own, because this card also represents knowledge. And with it being in the reverse, I just don't think she had the exact knowledge of what was happening then. I think she was in communication and control in that way, but she didn't have the full knowledge. So her needing something, needing that communication, needing that information, needing to receive all of the facts, I don't think she was there. Now, let's look at her relationship between her and the kids. So I'm going to do her, Two of Cups. She did not care about them, obviously. Two of Cups in reverse. This represents the kids. Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Complete disharmony. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. And then the dynamic between them. Knight of Pentacles. Lack of direction. So, I feel like, yeah, I feel like she obviously didn't want them in the picture. I feel like that was a part of it. Some people have kind of wondered, like, did they mean to get rid of the kids? Did that just kind of happen out of like, you know, craziness, not knowing what to do in the situation, or was that a part of the plan? I believe it was a part of the plan. And I say that because of this indifference. Like, she was completely disconnected from them. They wanted to start over from scratch. Obviously, the Ten of Pentacles for them makes sense. That complete disharmony and disruption in the family, right? Complete lack of energy, because they're not here anymore. Complete lack of stability, because that was completely destroyed. And then, yeah, Nine of Pentacles is a lack of direction and forward movement and motivation. So if there's none of that direction in that relationship there, why would she care? So I think it was in the plan. So now let's take a look at, did she have any involvement with their murders? Because that happened like a little bit after Shanann, right? So who's to say she didn't get there after? Who's to say even after he took their lives, then she didn't show up after? So let's look at, if any, direct involvement with the children. Again, the Lover's reverse. Separation. There's a lot of separation with her and the kids. Justice. Okay. Ace of Cups. So we got the Justice card last time in regards to what's going to come out about her, because I do think there will be some information. I don't know when, but I think at some point people are going to find some stuff, and justice will be served, right? In some form or fashion. At least it'll become more aware, if not in the exact way that we want it to be served, right? So what this is telling me, since this card is coming up, like I did for in the last one, but in this position, I did, her, the situation being her involvement in their murders, and the Ace of Cups as the outcome. What this is telling me is that I do believe she was actually a little bit more hands-on when it came to the children, and either the taking of their lives or in the transporting of them. And in some way, I think she had something to do with them in their last hours of life or after they were alive. And I say that because with the Ace of Cups being in the outcome area, this is like it's like aha, like being presented to you. So cups are about emotions, creativity, passions, fulfillment. And something that's going to like normally this would be like a filling your cup, right? It would be like the coming together of people or an event or something like that. That's like, this is going to fill our cups. How many people would be so fulfilled once she is finally called out? Because we all know, allegedly, that she had a part in this, right? So that's what I'm seeing this. She was so disconnected, so separated for them, wanted them gone. This was a part of the plan. And the topic at hand being justice, something's going to come out about this. I think there's already been little things that people have like kind of picked from. I need to watch some videos, but basically saying like, oh, was that her and the kids in this video? I think it was maybe like a shadow or something like that. I'm not sure. But then with the Ace of Cups, yeah, it's like, that's going to come to light because people are starting to really look into her again more. And yeah, I feel like that's kind of where her part took place. I feel like the shenan with Crits was really just kind of like in the moment. It was planned, but it wasn't going to happen that way. And then it was kind of like, what do I do now? So, okay. Is there anything else you can tell me about her involvement with the kids? We have the Two of Pentacles. I felt like she thought they were competition. She felt like he can't give me all his time and energy because he has to take care of them. And that's why she didn't want anything to do with them. Temperance. That's about patience. And also balance. Balance is the theme. I'm seeing a lot of balance, especially like, yeah, so many cards. Balance. The Star, Justice, Temperance, Two of Pentacles. So the fact that this is coming up next, I feel like she almost thought that like, I feel like they were just so delusional in thinking that this was the best thing. This was going to bring like, what am I trying to say? That like, this is what they were meant to do. This was going to bring more peace in their lives. She just had to be like patient, right? Like, I think that's kind of what she was telling herself. I think she was like almost giving herself pep talks about the situation. But she definitely felt like there was an imbalance in the energy, like they would take away from the attention that she could get. And we also have the Nine of Cups. That's like a wish come true. I think she was thrilled thrilled that this was happening, thrilled that they are gone. Yeah, I wish I could get more specific on the like, what did she do if she was involved in the murders? I mean, I guess I can ask that, right? It's just tricky because tarot, I mean, some people do yes or no questions. I feel like you shouldn't do yes or no questions. I feel like it's more, let's get a deeper understanding of what was going on, or of the mindsets, or what was happening earlier in the day or afterwards. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Or, you know, even during, you can kind of say what happened during. But there's no direct like yes or no. Right now I'm just getting that I do think she was involved with them in some way. I do think that this is going to come out. I think that's going to be kind of the thing that gets people more like, oh yeah, she really needs to be held accountable. And the reason she was more so involved with them is because she really felt like there was just going to be, it was unfair. She was jealous of them. And she felt like they had to go. And the fact that they did, that was really satisfying to her. I'm going to clean up the cards. I've used a lot of cards now. And I'm just going to get any last info on Nichole. Okay. What's anything else that you can let us know about Nichole and her involvement? Now we have the Lovers in the upright. Anything else you want to let us know about her in this situation? King of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. We have these two next, Two of Swords in reverse, and then Temperance in reverse. It's so interesting because we had a lot of these cards, and now they're all in different positions because I kind of switched it up, right? I folded them, I shuffled them, whatever. I'm so bad with my words today. Hopefully this video is even good, but whatever. I'm still gonna upload it. Okay, the Lovers, King of Pentacles, Two of Swords reverse, and the Temperance. So what this is telling me is anything else that we kind of need to know about her. I really feel like she was really relying on their like connection, their love, right? And with the King of Pentacles being in reverse, that just signifies the lack of order, the lack of structure, the lack of stability that was kind of being cultivated and built from this. And with the Two of Swords being in reverse, that's like making a decision. So I feel like this was weirdly something that I really feel like this was something that she knew that she could kind of manipulate out of him. I feel like she was just really taking advantage of his situation, as in him not being happy, him communicating that with her, him having an attraction to her, her having an attraction to him, and her wanting to feel like the most important person. Like, I feel like she, obviously not a professional, but she's probably like a little bit of a narcissist. I really do think this was so like, I don't know, in a way to make her feel so good about herself. So if there's another better term for that, let me know. But I really feel like it was their dynamic that made her feel like, yeah, I'm going to make this happen. And that's where the Two of Swords in reverse comes in, because that's like that decision making a choice. And the Temperance card being in reverse shows like a little bit of impatience. And that's kind of something that I brought up before was, you know, him kind of being like, sorry, I thought I heard a sound. Him kind of having that Ace of Wands in reverse energy of not being so sure he's going to act on it, but more so talking about it in fantasy. And then she's like, what is the holdup? So this is just kind of reiterating that message for me. Okay, is there any last insight or info on, I guess what's happening now? What happens next? Let's do her current and then what to expect, right? So how is she feeling now? We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. She is not happy that she is being brought up again. Sucks to suck. Don't be a piece of shit. Sorry. So yeah, so she's really not happy about that. We have the Moon card. She has a whole lot of anxieties and fears because her subconscious mind is like, hey, you know, you were a part of this. You know that there's evidence. Didn't she like wipe her phone clean before her interrogation or interview or whatever? Yeah, that's definitely something innocent people do. But yeah, so she's in her head about it. It's eating her up. We have the Nine of Wands. This is perseverance, pushing through. So I think she's delusional enough to at least keep going, you know, to keep standing up for herself, to keep fighting, even though, you know, deep down she knows her part in it and she knows that other people know. And then we have the Seven of Cups. So I think right now she's being called to take a look at her priorities. What is more important to her, saving face or doing the right thing? I think it's saving face, but I do think she's actually considering, you know, what she's going to do, because something that kind of came up in the last reading, which I'm not sure if this is how it works. I'm no like legal professional or whatever, but was maybe the opportunity for some type of like deal, right? Like usually if people are honest or can provide some additional information, they're like, okay, well, like cut your sentencing time or like something like that, right? So I feel like she's really looking at her options, looking at her choices and trying to figure out what has the best outcome for me in the end. So again, still thinking about herself, right? We have the Five of Pentacles in reverse, which means like the healing from a lack of something. And I really feel like it's accountability. Yeah, she has been lacking accountability, and I feel like that's going to be changing. So similar message to what I said in the last one, really just getting reiterated in this one. I just feel like right now, this is just giving us a little bit more insight on what she's kind of thinking, which is she's fearful, she's in her head a little bit, she's exhausted, but she's going to keep pushing through, and she's being forced to think about her priorities. Ooh, Four of Wands, and this is a celebration. This also came up in the last reading because I feel like the families of the victims are going to be able to have like more closure. Like, yes, she is being held accountable. We knew something was going on. We can celebrate. We can feel just 1% better than we did before, because obviously it's not going to be a full fix the situation. Now we have the Chariot in the upright. This is about direction, success, taking action, forward movement. So yeah, I really see this again going in a direction where she's going to kind of be called out. Ooh, and now we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Love that this is coming up for this one, because this means we're finally getting to enjoy the thing that we've been waiting for this whole time, which is waiting for her to be held accountable. So, okay, let's do one more card. One more card. Three of Pentacles, collaboration, and like getting together with others to gather information, to create, to collaborate, to make this happen. So yeah, I feel like whether it's more secret or public or happening right now or just in the near future or something, but I really do feel a collaboration of professionals coming together to kind of dive a little bit deeper due to the new information, or just the resurfacing of the information that's kind of coming out. And even if it's not them at first, I really feel like social media is going to play a big part in this, because that's what gets awareness. That's what gets people to feel really passionately about things and like speak out about them. So maybe that'll also play a part in it too, that collaboration of getting everything out there. So in some form or fashion, she is going to be exposed a little bit more. And yeah, we'll just kind of see what happens from there. But I hope you enjoyed this reading. I know I kind of tripped up on my words a little bit, but that's just because my brain is moving faster than my mouth is. So anyways, please give me a like and a subscribe. If you enjoy the way I present this content to you, let me know if you have any requests in the comments below. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.